a disturbing admission from Donald Trump that we all knew he was doing this, but to actually see him post this, it is deeply disturbing and disgusting. He writes, "What Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia. And I mean really bad. He's playing with fire." Exclamation point. So you realize, Donald, that this morning you're admitting that you've been aiding and abetting Vladimir Putin in the genocide of Ukraine. You know how many thousands of soldiers who you're responsible for killing, Donald? You know how many innocent Ukrainians you're responsible for killing? You have blood on your hands, Donald. That is very clear by your own admission. What you're admitting that because of your friendship with Vladimir Putin, you allowed him to continue the killing even more. It's so utterly disgusting. Then Donald Trump posts the following: "I'm extremely satisfied with the 50% tariff allotment on the European Union, especially since they were, quote, slow walking, to put it mildly, our negotiations with them. Remember, I am empowered to, quote, set a deal for trade into the United States if we are unable to make a deal or are treated unfairly. I have just been informed that the EU has called to quickly establish meeting dates. This is a positive event, and I hope that they will," and he puts this in caps, "finally, like my same demand to China, open up the European nations for trade with the United States of America. They will both," that's in caps, the word both is in caps for some reason that is unclear, "be very happy and successful if they do." Exclamation point, exclamation point. Well, one, with respect to China, the shipping has not rebounded at all. In fact, the shipping from China to the United States is almost as low as it's really ever been. When you said you need to open up trade with Europe and the United States, we have open trade between Europe and the United States before you and your threats. We have trade deals. We have a series of agreements that exists between the United States and the European Union. What the hell are you even talking about here? And the European Union, by the way, they recognize the opportunity based on the United States' weakness that the euro could soon become the world currency, as the United States is demonstrating to the world how unstable it is. The Reuters reports, "The euro could become a viable alternative to the dollar, earning the 20-nation bloc immense benefits. If governments could only strengthen the bloc's financial and security architecture," ECB President Christine Lagarde said on Monday. That's what the European Union's doing. They're saying, how do we contain this maniac, project our strength as the new stable leader in a multipolar world order, isolate the United States, just kind of deal with Donald, continue the deadlines, play the silly game. Okay, Donald, we've opened up trade. We never had trade before. Okay, you did it, Donald. Now there's trade between Europe and the United States. I mean, so utterly and completely absurd. Remember, Donald Trump said 90 deals in 90 days. He's done 0 deals in 90 days, except if you go back to the first post. Apparently, there have been deals with Putin that have allowed Putin to keep killing innocent Ukrainians and continue the war, as Donald Trump admitted when Donald Trump promised that he would end the war in 24 hours or even before he took office. But if you're going, but did he do a deal with the UK? He didn't do a deal with the UK. The memorandum of understanding is not a trade agreement, okay? And the memorandum of understanding says this is not a binding deal. And all it did was give special benefits to Land Rover, Jaguar, and Rolls-Royce over American car manufacturers who have worse abilities to sell into the United States now than the UK under the non-binding MOU. And China was not a deal. What happened in China was a consensus where the United States caved. And Donald Trump said he's getting so rich off of China that we weren't going to have to even have taxes anymore in the United States. And so then he moved 145% tariffs to 30% tariffs, and China moved their tariffs to 10%. I mean, what in the world is going on? And I'll tell you what else is going on, though. the European Union, China, Canada, elsewhere also see an opportunity to get the brain drain away from the United States and to get the smartest students into their countries. The smartest students were once attracted to the United States. And in terms of the monetary system, smart money used to put their money into the United States. Smart money in, smart students in, and Donald Trump is a repellent to those things. So the Trump regime is now ordering its staff, its team, to basically stop new student visa interviews as it weighs expanding social media vetting. And so they're going to determine which types of students they want in and out based on their social media behavior, just further repelling foreign students from coming into the United States. Oh, there were more posts by Donald Trump attacking the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. Donald Trump calls Gavin Newsom new scum in social media posts. But when Donald Trump actually comes face to face with Governor Newsom, Donald Trump is always a cowardly and pathetic individual and is too afraid to say it to Newsom's face. When Newsom's like, okay, say it to my face. You want to call me Newscum? Let's say it. Let's say it. And then Donald Trump kind of sheepishly is like, I'll shake your hand, Governor. So here's what Donald Trump posts. California, under the leadership of radical left Democrat Gavin Newsom, continues to illegally allow men to play in women's sports. This week, a transition male athlete at a major event won everything and is now qualified to compete in the state finals next week. As a male, he was less than average. As a female, this transition person is practically unbeatable. This is not fair and totally demeaning to women and girls. Please be hereby advised that large-scale federal funding will be held back, maybe permanently, if the executive order on this subject matter is not adhered to. The governor himself said it is unfair. I will speak to him today to find out which way he wants to go, ? Remember, Donald, when you sued the state of Maine and then you backed down and dismissed the case? We all know that you're weak and pathetic and you surrender. Also, California is the fourth largest GDP of any nation in the world. I'm not talking about states. The fourth largest, if California was a country, it would have the fourth largest GDP of any nation. And it is a donor state, not a taker state like the red states. So I don't know, maybe Donald, you should focus on your red states that are basically failed states and get the hell out of California, you idiot. But for Donald Trump, it's all about the grift, right? It's all about how is he going to enrich himself, bribery, quid pro quos, criming. That's just who Donald Trump is throughout his life. I want you to take a look at these New York Times headlines, and then I want to show you the fifth one. So this is what New York Times, these were the New York Times headlines. Hat tip to Carl Quintanilla for doing a great job in aggregating these. Headline number one, auction to dine with Trump creates foreign influence opportunity. You almost make it seem New York Times like it's a good thing. It's an opportunity. Just show up. You give some crypto to Donald Trump. It's an opportunity. Could you imagine if any other president did this? What the New York Times would be saying? The next headline from the New York Times, why Vietnam ignored its own laws to fast track a Trump family golf complex. And again, they almost normalized the behavior. Like, this is how they fast tracked it. And when you read this story, it's absolutely horrific. So Vietnam overturned its own laws, removed these families that lived for generations in Ho Chi Minh City, where the grave sites of 5 generations of their family members lived, to plow it all down so Trump could build resorts over the graves of these people who lived in Vietnam, because Vietnam says, well, the way to deal with Trump on tariffs is just you get him a hotel, get him preferential treatment, get him a Trump resort, and then he'll give you a quid pro quo and your tariffs will go down. It's a horrific story, but again, they frame it as an opportunity. Fourth headline from the New York Times. Trump pardoned tax cheat after mother attended $1 million dinner. Paul Walzak pardon application cited his mother's support for the president, including raising millions of dollars in a connection to a plot to publicize Biden's family diary. So again, the New York Times kind of normalizes this. Like, it's an obvious quid pro quo. If any other former president did just that one gesture alone, it would likely be grounds for impeachment. It would be potentially criminal, at least how it would be reported, but not the New York Times. And here is this headline from the New York Times. Oh, another one. As Trump's monetized presidency, profits outstrip protests. And here's another one. How Apple could placate Trump. And it gives a strategy. If Apple wants to placate Donald Trump, here's what it could do. As Carl Quintanilla says, I see we're in the how to placate stage of free market capitalism. Like, y'all realize we're talking about like authoritarianism and central planning, bad version, like central planning right here. We're talking about communism, authoritarianism right here. How could an American corporation placate the dictator? And they say it without even any sense of anger. How could you not be angry and pissed off? It is absolutely astonishing to me. And here's the headline from Reuters today. The hits keep coming, huh, folks? Trump media to raise $2.5 billion to invest in Bitcoin. Trump media will raise about $2.5 billion to invest in Bitcoin, U.S. President Donald Trump's social media firm said on Tuesday as it looks to diversify its revenue streams with a push into the financial sector. So it ain't making money on media. Right. It was losing hundreds of millions of dollars with Truth Social and media, and it only made about $4 million in revenue. So they said, aha, let's basically become like a treasury reserve for crypto and use Trump's influence to buy out Bitcoin and just harbor it in Trump media. So we have actual assets to justify pumping the stock up, basically. But interestingly, Trump media and technology stock went down about 8% on that news. So it's just another day there in Trump America. Grifting, bribery, quid pro quos, criming, all there in plain view. Our corporate news normalizing it. And Donald Trump literally saying, I mean, you go back to that first post. So, like, did he really say that? What Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia. And I mean really bad. He's playing with fire. Vladimir Putin knows that you're too scared to even sanction him, Donald. And so you've been helping him behind that. That's your admission. And again, just imagine people viewing this. Set aside your politics if you're a Democrat or Republican, an independent, whatever. That's what he admits on This Morning. And other than the Midas Touch Network, maybe it'll get a blip of coverage. For real? That's why we need you to subscribe. Help us get to 5 million subscribers. Keep this as the most watched, most viewed YouTube channel and of all cable news out there. And check out MidasPlus.com as well. And store.MidasTouch.com. Thanks and have a good one.
Can't get enough Midas.
I need glue wall. Hit him with senses shockwave. Help me! Help me! Help me! Help me! Help me! Hit him with senses shockwave. Need equipment. Need equipment. Hit him with senses shockwave. Help me! Help me!
First two
Help me!
double takedown.
Help me!